So this feels really beautiful. This is a very, very spontaneous gathering that came about a couple of days ago because our friend Andrea, who is visiting our community outside of Malaga, she came for a visit and she started talking about Orgíva. She said, I want to go to Orgíva and I have a friend there, I want to meet my friend. And so I said, okay, maybe we can, meet some more friends there. So we just announced this on Thursday or Friday, and it's amazing that all of you showed up. And we're here because we are prompted or guided to share from the truth of our minds. We have been on the path of the Course in Miracles for 17 years, probably. And we should see how the Course in Miracles is an awakening or enlightenment path with Christian language, but with more Buddhist kind of viewpoint. It's come here to this world to reach people in the Western world mainly, and that's why it's a Christian language. And what amazed me when I started to take in the teachings of the Course was when it said the world is not real. And for me there was an amazing answer to all the problems that I had experienced and to all the pain and suffering in this world. And it also stated God did not create this world. And that was also a very helpful answer, because if God would create a world that is incomplete and full of suffering, what kind of God is that? It must be an incomplete God. So the Course teaches us that the world is an illusion made from a very powerful mind, from a consciousness that is one with God, but had a crazy, mad idea of getting something. What if I could get something more than everything? So a mind that is peacefully resting in truth, in God, at home, which many of you, maybe all of you, have had a glimpse of that peace. Maybe you've had an experience of God, of peace, where you felt really, this is the truth. I'm at home. And then, yet, you find yourself in a world of form, in a world of separation with differences and so many different people, events, situations, and trying to cope, trying to survive. That's the illusion, and that's the place where we want to get out of, basically. So the Course in Miracles is a pathway out of the world, out of the experience of distress, of separation. So I was overjoyed when I learned that the world is not real. And I came from a very Christian-based background. So for me, the Course in Miracles made a lot of sense, because Christianity didn't make full sense to me. I was taught that I was full of guilt and sin, and I sin every day. And I was wondering, yeah, sure, I make a lot of mistakes, but why do I have to get that in my face from the preachers that I'm sinful? Does God want me to understand something about that? And then plus the fantastical story about Jesus dying on the cross for my sins. And for me that didn't add up. I didn't understand how that event would wash away my sins. I didn't it didn't work for me. So when I started to read the Course in Miracles, and the Course in Miracles started to explain all of this about that there is no sin, you have never sinned, there have been a mistaken idea that you have been separated from God, that you have been separated from your Creator, from who you are. And that's the only sin there is. And it's just a mistake. It's just a mistaken thought. And that's what the ego is. It's a doubt that I am what I'm not. That I am a human being, a person with limits, with problems. I have to sleep, I have to eat, I have to sustain myself for a future. All of that is the biggest mistake. So that's what we find out, and there are many paths. Of course, miracles is one path, and many other paths we find out the same thing, of course. So the way it went for me was I was a single mother. I had a son who was 10 years old, lived in Sweden. I practiced transcendental meditation, and I thought that was really powerful, my transcendental meditation practice. And I went really deep with it. And I met someone, a Course in Miracles teacher who came to Sweden and gave a talk, and I was clearly guided to go listen to him. I just felt this in my heart, I had to go. And I went to see him, and it was as if he just pulled the rug of the world under my feet. It was like, I don't have to anymore comply, I don't have to anymore. I was on a psychology program, I was going to become a psychologist. But what he said made me quit. I quit psychology and I quit everything. But then it was a time of not really knowing what to do. I was sitting at home reading A Course in Miracles. I was eating and sleeping A Course in Miracles. I was hungry for it. I couldn't stop. It was so powerful for me. So doing that for like 3 months after I had met this teacher, I received an email from the Transcendental Meditation Association saying, if you want to, you can go to Fairfield, Iowa and meditate for a year. And there's also yoga included. And you meditate for 8 hours a day in a big dome. And 2,000 women and 2,000 men from the whole world. This is how we're going to create world peace, they said. And I received this email, and my heart just started. I couldn't get it out of my mind. It was just so strong. And I thought, this is crazy. I can't go away for a year. I have a 10-year-old son. I'm single. I don't have money. How do I travel to the US? How will I afford this? And in the email it said, you will be taken care of, accommodation is provided, food is provided, you just need to show up, you need to pay for your ticket. And I couldn't get the idea out of my mind, it was so strong. Oh my God, what a beautiful God. And so I started to share the idea with my family and friends, and they all said, are you mad? What are you thinking? You have a 10-year-old and that's crazy, and that's a cult. Are you going to go into a cult? So nobody supported me. And so I thought, okay, an ex-boyfriend said, I can lend you the money for the ticket. So he supported me, but nobody else. And so I just thought, I can't go. And I thought, what mother would leave her son, My son has a dad too, and he loves his dad, and he loved his dad back then. They loved playing soccer together. So it wasn't like I would abandon him to nothing. He would have a home. But still, I thought, that's totally mad. And it's probably not God that is calling me to do this. It's probably my ego or the devil, that, the Christianity would say. So I gave up the idea. I said, I'm not going to go. But the idea didn't give up on me. I sat down at home and I was just feeling completely blank, empty. This one thing I wanted to do, I couldn't do. I just sat there. I sat on my bed for hours. And I was like, probably praying to God, show me a sign. What should I do? And after a few hours sitting there, suddenly I felt God. I felt God's presence, or the presence of light, of angels. And two angel beings, or two huge light beings. I don't even know if they were angels. I don't think they were angels. Show up. They are, if we would measure it with our own eyes, they would be as tall as up to the middle of this ceiling. And they were my mom and dad in their higher selves, my earthly mom and dad, who are still alive. But they had no likeness to them, other than I knew it was them. There was just knowledge, there was just, I knew it was them. And they stood there and they transmitted this wisdom to me. It was like an immediate communication. There was no time. This experience was beyond time. I was one with them, but I also received knowledge from them, and they answered all my questions. And then they transmit the message. Now we want to tell you why we are here. We are grateful that you're going to go on this journey, they say. And then they disappear. And it took me a whole year before I could talk about this, because it was just so amazing, and I thought nobody would understand. But for me, it was worth everything. And so I came out of the experience, and I had learned a lot already. First of all, they answered all my questions, but then I also realized I have a complete misperception of my parents. They are not, these are who they are. And I don't know them in my physical life. They are not like this. They are quite the opposite. They're pretty bad parents. And so I learned I have to heal my perception. That was the journey they thanked me that I was going to go on, to heal my perception. And I also realized I was standing in, it was like a hallway or a corridor in my house, and the physical world was just so real, so there, and this other experience was beyond time and beyond the physical. So I realized that I have some work to do to come back to this reality. And I had already studied the course for almost a year, so I knew a bit about this. But I said, that moment I just said, okay, I'm going to trust. The whole world seemed to say no to me, but I said yes. And I knew the world is not reliable. It's a misperception, it's a mistaken idea. So I did say yes. And I had like a counseling session. I had to counsel my parents because they cried. They said, don't go, this is crazy. I said, no, everything's going to be fine. I trust. Please take me to the airport, which they did. My son moved to his dad. And then I came to Fairfield, Iowa, and I was there for about 3 weeks. And then I had inner guidance telling me to leave, to go to my friend in Cincinnati, he has this peace house. And he was the teacher I met in Sweden, David. So I went to him, and that's when the real mind training started. It's called mind training in A Course in Miracles, and mind training means to change our minds to think with truth, to think with God, to learn to listen to the right thoughts. So that started there. And I felt I had been on the spiritual path for a long time, but David said, "You're just taking your first step now," he said. So this was at the end of 2006. So that's how it started. Where do we go from here? Do you want to speak?
Yeah, I just feel very grateful for this moment. I think what's kind of coming forward here is that we all have steps to take. Sometimes they look big, sometimes they look like maybe we can't really do them, but if we're being asked to do them, if we're being guided to do them, we can. So a big part of practicing A Course in Miracles is learning how to trust our inner guidance, learning how to really be with it and live with it, and then take the steps when they're presented to us. Sometimes they seem really shocking, like Jenny was sharing in her journey. I guess I can just share a little of coming to be with Jenny, because we've been friends online for 8 or 10 years now, but it was just maybe 3 years ago or so that we started to actually really connect and talk, and a real beautiful friendship unfolded. A few months later, she came to the US and we actually met in person for the first time, and the friendship went even deeper. But at the beginning, that's what it was a friendship. We were both kind of, working on different things in our lives, and it was just supportive and healing and helpful. But then maybe about 6 or 8 months after that, I had a big opening in my heart, and it was unexpected. I was out in nature, in kind of a beautiful place like this in the US, and
can we read back a little bit?
Yeah.
Can I share?
Yeah, you can share.
Because he started talking to me about starting to have really romantic feeling, even sexual feelings. Like they were like overwhelming. They were very strong, right? Like in May or something that year, and like not for me, but just in general. And he said, "I'm in love with this yoga teacher. That her name is so and so. What do you think I should do?" And I said, "Yeah, ask her for a date. Go, do this and that." So we talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
For a couple of months.
Yeah, we support each other, and even being with other people initially. Yeah. And so, I did follow Jenny's advice. I asked her out for what I thought would have been a very nice picnic in the park. And I got the kindest no I've ever received from anyone. It was turned down, but I felt so blessed. And it was just a really sweet connection with her, even though it wasn't meant to be anything in that direction. So all of a sudden I felt very open, as I had been thinking about her for a while, and then I just felt very open. And it was about a month later that it was like the sun dawned in my being, and the sun was being with Jenny. And so I was on a camping trip, and as I came back from the camping trip, I heard this song in my head. Sometimes songs give me messages. And this song was, "Would I Lie to You, Baby?" You know that one? "Would I lie to you, baby?" And so I knew pretty much right away what it meant. I was with my other friend in the car, and I shared it with him, and I said, I have to tell Jenny how I feel about her. So as soon as I dropped him off, I called Jenny and I shared what I was feeling. And at first, she wasn't too excited about that because we had such a beautiful, supportive friendship. And there was thoughts, well, maybe we shouldn't change things. Maybe this is what we should be doing. And I wasn't really attached, but all I knew is all this love was pouring through me. It was just like kept coming, kept flowing. It was just huge. It was so bright. It was so big. It was bigger than anything I'd ever felt before. And eventually, I think, as I expressed this to Jenny, it was like, I don't know, it called forth the light in you for this connection. And ever since, it's been just an amazing journey. Even though that was just a couple of years ago. All of this has happened so fast and...
Less than 2 years ago.
Less than 2 years ago.
I lived in Ireland, and that's when he came over to Ireland. And yeah, we took it from there.
Yeah. I mean, we've known each other for eons, but it feels, in this realm, it's only been a couple of years we've been joined in this way. But that love is not really a special love. Even though it comes, my experience of it is it comes through me to Jenny, it's not really about Jenny. And that's something we realized very early on in our connection, that this huge, beautiful love that we have for each other is not, it's not for one other person, not for this two-person, duo.
We couldn't call each other by names in the beginning because it felt like wrong somehow to name this love. Didn't feel right. Didn't feel like I loved Barret. It didn't feel like he loved Jenny. It felt bigger. So I didn't call you by your name for a long time.
It's true. Still, sometimes if I call her Jenny, it feels weird to me.
Yeah. It's not about. It's about being truly helpful. And of course, the Miracles is teaching us to become truly helpful. What does that mean? It means we're helpful to our own mind in awakening, and we undo stuff in our minds that are not serving us. We release unforgiven beliefs in the mind, which is what the world is. But the world is only a manifestation of unforgiven beliefs. The world was over long ago. The world was over long ago. It's not actually here. This is the whole thing. And to the extent that we believe that it is here, that's to the extent that we have forgiveness to do. And so we talked a lot about this the last few days with Andrea being with us. If we don't feel good, we believe the world is here. We're not one with God when we don't feel good. We're unhappy or scared or sad or feeling guilty or doubtful. And so the inner work is so important because your mind is the most powerful thing. And this is what we're afraid of. We're afraid of the power of the mind. So we project a world outside of us. So with this tiny mad idea talked about first, it's like the tiny mad idea is like a guilty secret that we have separated from our creator, from our source. And we feel so bad about it that we just want to hide. We shrink into a little package of a human being, or a persona, an identity, and it even has a shape of a body. The body is a concrete form of fear. That's how A Course in Miracles describes the body. Concrete form of fear, a dense, if you've gone into quantum physics, it's vibration, and the more dense it is, then it's form, and it's material. So that's what the body is. It's a dense, it's a vibration that is very slow or dense. So, and this guilt from believing you have separated off from your truth is so strong, and it brings up such fear that it has to project it out as the world. As the world we see with all the events, the whole timeline, everything, all the human beings are part of this projection. That's how powerful your mind is. And when you believe you are this little figure, the Course talks about you believe you are the dream, not the dreamer. You want to realize you are the dreamer. The dreamer is the powerful mind. But the dream is just a victim. It's an object. It's born by two parents. It has a lot of littleness. It needs to figure out life, do the right thing in the world, have a good future, make sure you can sustain yourself. All of that is part of the victim. It's part of this persona. So when I realized all this, I thought, I'm going to stop that. I'm not going to try to make money. If this is true, if the Course in Miracles is the truth, which I have felt, then I'm gonna go with this. I'm not gonna even try to think about the future. And that brought up such huge fear, this terrible fear. But I must think about those things that everybody thinks about. I must think about having a career and a job, and constantly I came back to no, I can't. No, I don't have to. I don't need to. And then another wave of fear came up, plus the guilt of thinking I was a mother, having left my son in Sweden, being over in the United States for several months, having huge guilt. But of course, the Miracles teaches us nobody's outside of us. There's nobody outside of us. And time is not really real. So I started practicing the Course really strongly. Thought, okay, if my son is not outside of me, if he's not hurt, he's not alone and sad, this is an image, then I want to release that belief that I am also a mother that is guilty. And it was quite powerful when I worked with it, because if I would call my son out of this place of worry, like extreme worry, how is it going for him? Does he have friends now? Is he still throwing up when he gets anxious? Is his dad good enough? Does he take care of him? He doesn't know all the things that I know that he needs. When I have all those anxiety thoughts and I pick up the phone or Skype or whatever I use to call him, and he would reflect it back. He would say, Mom, where are you? You're the worst mom in the whole world. I miss you. I need you, he said. And I felt even worse. Like, horrible. So I thought, I need to practice even more with this release of guilt. So I did every lesson in the Course. The Course has 365 lessons, one for each day of the year. And they will lead us to release this guilt. That's what they're designed for. They're not designed to help the world outside of us. To help the world outside of us is a huge mistake or distraction that we do when we're afraid to look within. We think we need to save the planet and save the animals and save the suffering, but that's fear-based. We need to save ourselves, and then we'll know what to do with everything else, if anything. There's going to be nothing to do then. But so I started to practice really well, and I was wisely told that call him when you're joyful, give him a call when you're happy. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try that. And I had to wait like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 2 months, you know, for the day when I felt really happy and free. Because all the other days I felt so guilty, I felt so bad. So I did that, worked with my emotions. And then this day came. I felt so happy and I felt so connected with him in my mind and connected with everybody. And that's when I called him. Sometimes he said, "Hi Mom, I don't have time to talk with you. I'm out playing with my friends. I'm really happy." Sometimes he talked with me and he said, "All is good. I don't throw up anymore. I'm so happy. My dad and I will play football. We're gonna do this and that." And I thought, wow, this works. and one of the lessons in the course is when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And that means that the whole universe is healed when I'm healed. Because when I heal a belief in error, a belief in sin, I will perceive that everything is reflecting that. Everything. When I truly, and this is like, I didn't understand it first. It was like, really? This is so. But that's how powerful it is to work with our own mind only and not think we need to fix the outside world. We're crazy addicts here in the world. We think we have to fix the outside all the time. We have to change something. That's the ego's religion. Change the form and you will be happy. But no, it doesn't work that way. Change your mind about your mind. Change your mind about who you are. And the guidance piece. So to understand these metaphysics was very, very important. And then the second piece to it was to follow the guidance, to follow those inner prompts, coming from a higher wisdom. The Course does call it the Holy Spirit. And that's where we can really become happy. Because I don't know what to do. I don't know my own best interest. I would just hurt myself. And that's also something Course says. You don't want to learn how to better hurt yourself again. If you follow the ego's guidance or even common sense, very common, or being analytical or smart, or that doesn't take us very far. Like this other wisdom that sometimes seems crazy, like talk to this person or go to that place. And maybe I know Orgíva is a very, very spiritual place, and probably you all have followed some inner prompting to come and live here. You trusted. And that's the kind of thing we need to do. But we need to believe in it every day. And often we fall back into a depressed state because that's the grip this world has on us. It's a very depressing place to be. So with the Course, even when you have worked on it for a long time, you still need to watch out for this trap in your mind. Like when you wake up in the morning, who do you believe you are? Like what are your thoughts? What's going on in consciousness? Because that's where the power lies. You can even take the meditation right as soon as you're conscious that you're conscious in the morning. Give over your whole mind and being, all your plans, give it over to Spirit. Give it over to God and say, okay, this is what I believe, but now you lead me. Give me a miraculous day. Show me something different here. And I assure you it works. It truly works. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you think it would be too loud to have the fan on?
Say it again?
Can you put the fan on?
Yeah, we can turn on the fan. Yeah.
So just swear.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. We can.
Super interested, but I'm so hot.
Yeah, we can speak loud, and if someone doesn't hear, we can speak louder. Okay?
Have you reached a point of, as you said, like there's glimpses, and I practice something, a type of meditation which is not really sitting constantly, but it's like a constant come back to yourself where you kind of observe from outside. It's like, I know the feeling, and I've got it, but that coming back constantly. It's just, have you reached the point where you can sustain it a few days, or maybe your life, or does it get better? Does it get easier, basically?
Yeah, it does. It gets easier.
It's just like a training, huh? Just the habitual, like habitually we get angry, habitually we could just...
It gets much easier, and gets even, you come to a point when it becomes natural, when you are in that state.
It is a natural state. No?
Yeah, it's a natural.
We are.
Yeah, but sometimes
removing all the...
You fall down, you fall back.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it's more like your whole life is in the dark, and then and the Course in Miracles is very gentle. It's okay, you practice 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening, in the beginning, and then the lessons become then 5 minutes and 15 minutes, and then it's never because you have to meditate for 3 hours. It's never like that. It actually talks about meditation as tedious and time consuming. It says, it is a path and you will reach the same result, but it will take much longer. It says your way will be different. A holy relationship will be given you. A holy relationship will be given you. A holy relationship is given me. It seems like a person, like we are two people, but a holy relationship is an experience of oneness in the mind. But that's the difference between the paths. It's a path of relationship where we have to raise up our thoughts and share them. So in our community, and we have our community here, raise your hand. Very much, yeah. And we talk about stuff. Like every morning we come together for an hour and a half. So first we do the lesson for the day, and we go within. You heard me on YouTube, and then we have a sharing where whatever feels like a block in the mind is lifted up for him, and that's like the practical work. It becomes easier to stay.
I would just say, sorry. I know about the book. I've read it, but I haven't really studied. But would you say, maybe you can tell me if it's not too long or complex, like if you identify like a really limiting belief or an emotion, do you kind of work through your body? Because analytically it doesn't really go away. It's not the mind that needs to solve this, there's other ways. I know there's many methods, but if it's not too long to explain.
Yeah. I have done it without the body for many years first, because I did it just with the metaphysics, and it was very powerful. But then I found there's more healing to do. I had memories come up of sexual abuse, like many of us have had, and so I had to go. I was guided into more body-based, like to feel something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions?
So, because when you say that we're the dreamer and not the dream, then when we become aware that we're the dreamer and that we're creating it, we take full responsibility for our experience and everything that is and everything around us, then we can do what they call spiritual bypass things. And so there's always been this, for me, this confusion of what a spiritual bypass is and what is creating my new complete reality.
Yeah, you can't spiritually bypass when you truly believe you're the dreamer, when you truly experience it. You can't skip over anything when you really are in that state of mind, or Christ mind. You can also
But
call it.
it's funny, isn't it? Because you can be in that Christ mind, and very clearly in that Christ mind, and then a trigger can come and let you a trigger that meaning like something that brings up your childhood wounding, and then you can have a reaction, and then you can fall like down into like it back into kind of a hell space where everything, it's like the Maya. And then it can take a while to then go back. So that's why it feels like a spiritual bypass, because it's like, how do you keep in that I'm the dreamer, like more constantly without
Yeah, but it is only through healing of these dark places. So if you are in that high place and feel really happy and conscious, but then you fall down into a black hole, and something that was unresolved comes. Because it was unresolved. It was still there all along, but now you're ready to work with it.
Yeah.
So you can't skip over. It may look like you had skipped over that stuff, but it was more like you were not ready.
Oh yeah, because you've got the unresolved stuff.
Mm-hmm. We can't go to heaven with unresolved stuff. We are in another state of mind. The kingdom of heaven is within, like Jesus said 2,000 years ago. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Kingdom of heaven is a glorious state of mind, not a place that is available, but it is available only when we have faced the darkness. So we think we're there, we're not actually there if we fall into something dark, We still have steps to take. So.
Yeah. That answers that.
Okay. Cool. How you're feeling? You need to shake. Any other thoughts or questions? How do you find out about this meeting? Is it on Facebook or? Okay.
I saw it through two people in the UK. They're breath workers. There is a bit of a similar, a breath worker might well be a Course in Miracles version and vice versa.
Yeah.
And they think, there you, this is you.
So yeah, we're open to any there's no bad question or thought, or we can even go into personal stuff. If somebody has a difficult issue that you want help with, we can work together on that. So anything is okay. There are no bad questions.
So, how do you know when it's a holy relationship between two people? When it's not a special relationship?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, it's actually always special if it's two people. there is always specialness. If you believe there are two people, but when the mind is so awake that you actually don't operate from the perspective of people, then it's holy. So I would say it's a mix, and it's a mix until you're completely awake.
So would you consider it a holy relationship because you are sharing?
I feel we have a holy relationship, and it may have elements of specialness in it. Yeah. That's what also the Course names it like that. It says, the only problem with your holy relationship is that it still has specialness in it. And the criteria for a holy relationship is that it is shared. it is shared. With specialness, we want to keep it all to ourselves, and we have fear. But with holiness, we dare to share, we are open. We don't even dare, we know that's the natural way. Sharing is, we know we're one. What is that to fear,
And what happened to your son? Is he happy now?
He's really happy, yeah. He's 26 this year. He lives in Sweden. He has his second or third Muslim girlfriend. I have no idea why, but they're beautiful. His girlfriend is an amazing girl, and he's very wise. He's very, very happy. Yeah. One of
Sorry, no. Go ahead. No.
I was just going to keep talking, but you can ask something.
No, you said maybe the subject of forgiveness. We can discuss a bit on that. Like, I have a situation with my father who's deceased. I'm sure everyone has situations with someone where, I don't think logically I understand that things happen in life and people are different, and but it's such a deep issue. I mean, I work with medicine, I work with many different, but the forgiveness is not there yet. It's just the abandonment kind of issues, and like logically everything, I've worked through it, but it's still there.
There is hurt.
It's just, and to an extent, the last time in the ceremony, I kind of felt like I want to cry for myself. I want to stop kind of forgiving someone. I just want to cry for myself because I felt pain and I feel bad for myself. So that's, I suppose it's also the subject of not seeing someone separate, and that we're all kind of playing roles which are,
Well, I think we have to let the emotions up first. We need to honor what we're feeling. If there's abandonment, as you shared, if there's sadness, anger, maybe, sometimes even hatred. Even if we love a person, we might also feel so upset that we hate them. We can't hide any of these things. We need to allow them. If we suppress them, we actually just hold on to them. So a big part of the process is allowing what's present, or becoming present with what's inside, and we're not maybe fully conscious of. We want to let it come into the consciousness. We want to bring it forward. Then, after we let ourselves feel these things, then we can remember, and it's not really the truth, right? If I really accept that this whole world is an illusion, then I have never really been abandoned by anyone. But if we try to start with that side of it, we're just going to keep the emotions stuffed away. So again, it's important to really be honest with where we are. And then we bring in the deeper metaphysics. We bring in these deeper teachings that are really helpful. Because if we don't accept that it's all an illusion, then we still think something bad happened. No matter how many times we've released the emotions, we still have this sort of bad image or bad memory. But when we really come into the idea, this is just a dream that I'm waking up from. After you've woken up from a bad dream you had in bed last night, you don't have to keep feeling bad about it. Why? Because the bad thing you thought happened didn't really happen. And we actually can get to that point with the things that happen in what we would call the waking dream. This whole life is nothing but a waking dream. And when we really come to experience that, there's real freedom in that.
And do you, any questions? Was it instant for you? Because I know the idea, I kind of try to believe in it, but also triggers, I kind of believe, I kind of know, but then, reality is this is real, you don't have to make plans, you have to. Was it instant for you? Was it like a build-up belief? How did you kind of reach there?
It's a process.
It's a process,
Yeah, for example, so Course Miracles talks about forgiveness in this way. It says, forgive your brother for what he did not do. Forgive the other for what they did not do. That's weird, you know. I was abused, you know. This happened. How can I forgive them for what they did not do? Only from the perspective of being aware that it was a dream. It was a nightmarish dream, horrible, you know. And that's what abuse is in this world. It's horrible. It's ugly. It's very sad. For me, it was like, yeah, forgive your father for what he did not do. Forgive your dad for what he did not do. And the way we just talked about this yesterday, that, the way that worked for me was first, I did it metaphysically. I said, okay, he didn't do it, actually. He didn't abuse me. So, and I came to a place of peace with that. I knew he did it in the dream, in my life when I was little. You know, that's what I believe. That's what my nightly dreams told me. My fear of men, my fear of sex, all of that showed that something terrible happened to me, and I know the people who did it because I couldn't fully remember it first, but it was like coming in more and more. So I had to. So first, I actually forgave them on this higher level when I realized it is just a dream, and it's a sad dream that I had. And emotionally, I had to really allow all my feelings about it to come up. And I still work on it. I still work on those. But I wouldn't blame the other characters anymore. I don't feel angry at them. If I do, I will allow that. But I feel quite, I've come a long way with it. So, yeah. 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 And I had to do what felt helpful for me. I had to remove myself from the environment so I could really look into my mind. And sometimes that's very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about forgiveness, and recently I've sort
Just
of
speak
come
up a
across-
little more.
I've been having experiences when I have an experience where the feeling and the emotion is so strong, it feels so real and true. And in my mind I say, well, I know this is just a thought, this is not real. But it doesn't change anything. The feeling feels so real, so strong. And then all I can do is just sit and be with it.
Yeah, or...
It won't just...
Yeah.
Even though I know it intellectually and on some level this is just a dream, it's an illusion, it's not real.
Yeah.
And in theory I should be able to let it go.
Well, this is why we're in community. You know, we need support. We want a mighty companion who talks with us. You know.
Yeah, that's what I often do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I have huge resistance as well. It's like I just don't want to know. I fucking ask.
Yeah.
I get fed up with it. I'm doing it every day.
Yeah.
And some days, well, I just don't want to know. In fact, to be honest with you, I didn't want to come today.
I know, you said that.
And then I did some journaling, and then that helped me to get to a place where I was kind of neutral about it. I know this would be good for you, so I came along. And as I sat here listening to you talk, I had deja vu, so I thought, okay, I meant to be you.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. I love deja vu. It shows that you're the dreamer. It shows you remember this from another point.
It's very encouraging for me when that happens. You know, you're on the right path. You've already been here. It's already been done. You're just catching up with yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And it is very, you know, beliefs are very stubborn. That's why you have to work with them over and over and over again. And that little maybe pride in the mind that says, I don't want to call somebody, I don't want to share this. It's because it's private thoughts. Like our minds are full of private thoughts that we want to keep to ourselves. And we believe we can. We believe we can keep them to ourselves. But in fact, they do project the whole universe. The private thoughts project the whole universe the way we see it. They're horrible. So we want to release the private thoughts. And that's what we do in community. And it takes a lot of willingness, because the private thoughts is like, it's, it's stuff we don't want to share. It's private, So, so it's very healing and refreshing, and it goes quicker when we do share them,
Well, some things pass me very quickly, and another things are very stubborn. And especially the ones where I think I'm really worked about it. This really is true. That's interesting to watch my mind. Yeah, I should be. I can't even find the willingness sometimes.
You cannot find it.
The willingness.
Yeah.
If I can find a little bit of willingness, then I can find it.
Sometimes you need to make a real deep prayer. I'm willing to be willing, when you're not willing. I wish I was willing.
Yeah.
Even
that's where I have to
opening.
start, and then maybe a while later I can find some willingness. It's like the miracle happens, and then it just, at some point it does begin to dissolve all of it. I can at least let go of some of it, or enough for some sanity to come back into mind.
Yeah. And there could be very deep hurt that is kind of hard to move, that is hard to deal with, because that's how it goes with us here in this world. There is so much deep hurt that we need to gently keep working with.
That's why I try to work out to be gentle with myself. I used to try and force myself, but that wasn't working. It helped me for a while, and then it just didn't work. Got to be gentle, and understanding and compassionate and loving with yourself. And well, okay, I'll give it a go. And I found it surprisingly it does work.
Yeah.
And then things began to get faster and faster.
Yeah. Yeah, we start to get really good at questioning beliefs, questioning of conclusions, questioning concepts. There are no helpful concepts in the world. There are no helpful, useful beliefs, really. The forgiveness is the only helpful concept to keep with us. The rest we should drop as a hot potato the sooner that we can, because it doesn't help us. Like ideals or even moral, things that we think are good. Are they really? We need to be willing to put them on the altar, to put them on the altar of truth. And if they are helpful, we will keep using them, but if we hold on to them, they are just like an idol. They are like a block in our mind, full awareness. Do you want to say something more? No? No. Okay.
I've got it's a sort of a statement and a question at the same time. So I think I'll put it in. About 20 years ago, I suddenly woke up one morning and I thought, actually, there's nobody else out there. There is nobody else out there. It's all me. And that was really helpful. Because then you think, well, if there's nobody else out there, I know there's people here, but there's nobody out there. And so if I feel something, it hasn't come, they haven't made me feel that, because there's nobody out there, so where has it come from? And that took me down into the whole realm of archetypal work and working with drama and all these different beings inside. and it works really well because there's nobody to blame because there's nobody else out there. And it really worked for me. And the question I've got then is, in the course of miracles, we talk about you're the dream and not you're the dream and not the dream. Yeah. There's nobody else out there fit into that in some shape or form. So I didn't read it, of course, in miracles. That's
Nobody fits into your dream. Is that your question?
There's nobody else
does
out
it fit
there.
into the course of miracles?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nobody else out there. Yeah. There is
else.
nobody else out there. Your mind, purely mind, and nothing but mind.
Yeah.
You're not the body. You're not body and mind. The body, in the beginning, I spoke about the time and space, not real.
Yeah.
The body is a construct of time. It doesn't exist in the present moment. It's only remembered or anticipated. Yeah, so therefore there is nobody out there.
Yeah. So that's great. I never put those two together before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
I'm in here.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you can read the course and really do it even deeper the work.
My friend gave me. She got involved in the Course in Miracles in '92.
Oh yeah.
And probably about 90 actually. And about 92, she gave me my birthday present. It's in my house here. The big green book with the 3 parts, And I picked it out the other day. Well, 2 days ago, when I saw this coming up. I thought, when did I get that book? And it was 1992.
Wow.
And I read tiny bits of it. But now maybe I'll read more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like to share what your community is about? Is it a founded community and what is it based on? And what's the purpose of it?
Good, yeah. The purpose is awakening and forgiveness. It's not based on anything else, actually. It's based on the desire to wake up and to forgive the illusion. And it's right now it's funded by donations and gifts and by the Holy Spirit's guidance. That's the way it's going. And we are in the process of starting a foundation, a non-profit foundation here in Spain, but it takes some time. We welcome anyone who has that desire to work with us for awakening. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Do you live and work together, or you just meet for your 1.5 hour morning sessions?
Is it
also physical?
We live together.
To do other work besides the
Yeah.
internal work.
We do. We live together. Although right now, 4 of our community members live nearby to us, but the rest we live, and that's our aim, is to live together. And we do live together right now with the group. And yes, we spend the whole day together. It's a very prayerful. It's very guided. So how we spend the day, we talk about it in the morning to really know that we're following guidance. It's just that's the only thing we have is the guidance. Otherwise, everyone is lost. It's based on guidance and trust. So we have a lot of communication to know what to do. Because nobody knows what to do here in the world. So we have to receive some guidance about it. And that's what we do. So they can look very different, every day. But the core is that it is guided and very open communication. It's not like everybody has to figure out what they need to do. It is through communication and sharing that we find out the guidance. So it's completely based in A Course in Miracles community. We have a retreat in September, and it would be great for all of you to come. Anyone who would like to be with us and go through healing together. That's what we do in the retreats. We go through a lot of healing. It's like healing retreats, clarity retreats. And this retreat is from the 7th to the 11th of September at our house. Good.
Where is it?
We're going to be in ACIM.
North of Veles Malaga, in the mountain area. Yeah.
Where is the
Bags by the fireplace there. We did print up some flyers. We only printed up a half a dozen. But we also have our cards with our contact info on them.
We can pass this around. We have 6 sheets of this information of the retreat. So if you want to announce it somewhere, hang it somewhere, or if you want to take one, go for it. And we have this is our card. We have Spanish and English. The website is there. If you go to our website, make sure to put HTTPS and the whole thing, because otherwise sometimes you get some kind of weird error message. And we want you to list it as a good website, because it is.
I've got another question actually, saying that you're doing this retreat. Yeah, I've got another question. It's got about, she's got the plan, I just have one. I thought it was 2 years ago that there was a big world conference, and they put all the stuff out. A friend of mine bought the package and I was reading it and listening to it. And it was talking about the only way to really transform oneself and to really change is through embodiment. And so I'm a breath worker, so I get someone breathing, so that's embodiment, yeah? Or you could go to a body worker and they start working on your body and talking to you and something changes. Or it could be singing bowls, or gong bars, where you've got all the vibration. I'd say other people may have other examples of embodiment. There's lots of examples. But for me, I never got to where I wanted to go by just talking. It was always something else.
Yeah.
You know, maybe movement, music, expression, writing or something. So I'm just wondering I've never been on a Course of Miracles retreat or anything, you know. It's like, what helps the person, I don't know, it's like that moment when you go, something's changing. Do you have other, you can talk and share, and do you have any other embodiment activities or things that you do, chanting or music or, just wondering.
Sometimes we do music, or we haven't done a lot of chanting, but we are always open. But actually, usually it is through very, very open communication. There are many tears. Sometimes people stay on the floor, you know, crying and shaking because there's so much coming up for healing. So it's not. We don't have a method, you know, and it's not body focus. It's mind focus to remove the blocks in the mind, but it can be very emotional, and the bodies are used for, you know, in whatever way is for the highest good. So, yeah.
Would you like to share something? I don't know, there's so many emotions starting.
Want to speak loudly, Vanessa?
Yeah. There's so many feelings inside me, and what made me believe that I like to be around people. I feel so excited, but it's like this fear to share from our heart. You know, it's like we are here together, but for me, it's almost a missing the sharing from our heart, say about our emotions. It's like there are a lot of, this box move, this crown, and above our head, and to share, to just to let it go, just to be in touch with our emotions. Of course, we can just.
I hear you. You're inviting an expression session for sharing. Yeah.
Be in touch with your emotion. What's the thought there? Because for me, I can see these uncomfortable feelings, like we are holding something, maybe on me. But I feel to invite, let it go, let's share. We are one mind, it's like, I don't know.
She's been in our community for several months. Now she lives here in Orgíva for the moment. But,
I don't know, I just feel so good when we share from our heart, just put on the altar, just I'm feeling like this, I feel like that, I believe this, I believe that. We are not our thoughts, we are not our beliefs, and then that's okay to share. And then, I would like to share this fear to be together in belief that I feel separated when I see a lot of bodies, and it's not true. And I think we can feel connected when we start to share and from our heart.
Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful. That is the practical way. So usually when we meet people for the first time in a big group, there isn't maybe usually a lot of sharing like that, but we can really open up the space for, if there is something really difficult that someone is dealing with, you can even take a moment and go check in with yourself now. If there is something there you would like help with. It is a powerful space and a very powerful purpose we share here. Thank you. Is there anything else, emotional or other? We're open to anything. Just to talk more maybe about community. I lived in community for 14 years before, and then now we continue with community, and it seems to be the way we've been guided because it is very, very healing. Because you get both support and triggers, right, Jonas?
Support and what?
You get both support and triggers when you live in community.
That's very true.
You have a lot of help, but you also get triggered because a lot of fear comes up. But is there anything,
I would like, for me, the course is a very powerful instrument. I'm since 30 years working with it, and I would like to live in a community. And my situation is that I have, because my parents died, I have now the physical opportunity to offer a place for it. But my question would be how to find people who really would be dedicated to this kind of work.
I might know two people.
Pardon?
I might know two people who would like to come to Spain to join you.
Yeah, we are a community without a house. We have to rent houses.
Okay.
So you're a community without community, but you have a house.
Okay, so maybe we should talk.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where is your house? Is it here in this area? We can talk later.
We can talk later, or we can talk now. Like what you feel is better. Yeah.
Well, I think it sounds interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So you have a big house, many rooms, and you would like community there.
Well, the situation is really, really strange. I have a place here in Spain since 30 years, which has small little houses. It would be quite a perfect community place. And now as my parents died, well, it's strange for me to say, there's also in Germany a house. There's one house, but with different habitations, rooms. So I'm now in the really strange situation that in two countries, because I'm following that idea that a spiritual community following to the course should exist since many years, and now I'm really in this crazy situation that in two countries I have a responsibility.
Wow. Yeah, I
I
think.
really don't dare to speak about it, but it is like this.
Thank you for speaking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is how to find the persons who really feel that our lifetime is an extremely precious chance we have, and we should really use this time about the child, el tiempo. So.
Well, you found us. You know, that's what we do. That's what we do. So I'm open to talking about it. Yeah. We're renting one house now, and we're going to move to another house soon, where we have the retreat. Yeah, if you've had a prayer like that, like you want community, you prayed in your heart, you longed for it, of course, that's what's going to be sent to you, the highest good of the whole, the highest good for your mind. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
And I think when we live in the world, we're very tight with things we own, and we kind of think in a narrow way. But when you open up like you have, like you want to share, you would like a community. Yeah, it's what is sent, and I mean I'm open to be anywhere and explore anything, because I have no investment in where I am. I'm going where I'm guided, and if there is a heartfelt call in the same purpose that I share, then I think it is a fit. So, yeah.
You could try it for a month. You could try it for a month and see what happens. Joke, joke.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's try it a month. We do that in the community. If someone wants to come, they come for a month's trial.
It's like, the commitment is for a set period of time, we say, and that, so it's a bit safer.
Yeah. Okay. So we did give the opportunity for emotions, or if someone is dealing with something, is there anything on your heart that you would like to bring up here?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind speaking to somebody else.
No, you can go first.
Yeah, I think the answer's landing while I'm sitting listening with you, but it helps to say a few words, I think, to see what comes. But there's a sense of, I can feel something, it was a moment ago, like it looked like the last block in the way of a whole load of blocks that don't exist anymore. And it was to do with what you just said, my prayer is that what I bring in or what I do in the world is for the highest good of the whole. And now I needed to say this out loud, because as I speak I can feel my heart, I can feel the wobble, I can feel the little child in there, really trembling. I just want to give that a moment, actually, without smothering it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I probably asked some more words, but thank you. It feels totally different now. Loving embrace around that one that was great. Thank you so much. There was just this, as you spoke, something landed, and it was a dissolution between, I have something to bring in the stories, how will it be met in the past, this. And it's like, but what if you and they doesn't exist in this arena here? There is no you and they. And what if for the highest good of the whole is all you really need to ask for?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't forget that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I've forgotten it there and I can feel it.
Yeah.
There's a bit of fear there, but just it's trying to hide behind the word. Yeah, it's your body.
So you want to share what
Feels calm now.
you feel better now? Okay.
Yeah, it just like it was telling the story. It doesn't seem to have much more to say right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Practical application. Yeah.
Don't turn away.
Thank you. This is how healing can look. It doesn't have to be an explanation or words. And we're all safe in that. Whatever it looks like. So I say Marina.
I feel also she was speaking and feeling, I felt my heart like expanding. And what I've been experiencing is that I'm on a constant flow of emotions. I can have small peaks and I come back to this stillness. What makes me feel or see really calm and really centered and really, and I always question myself, do I have to deep these emotions? Because it feels like a small fire inside myself that I don't have this deep fire, or even for anger, jealousy, joy. It's all these feelings, I feel still, the presence. But I always have this question inside myself, do I have to go and read? Do I have to try to take something from there? What am I avoiding to feel? Because sometimes I'm in situations that I could be angry or jealous or even really joyful. I'm here and I just have this, and I feel like, I can have peace and then I self-regulate and I'm back here and that's where I live, in this place. But there's always a question and even a pressure from myself. Like, no, you have to feel more, you have to be more passionate, you have to have more fire. I've been moving and my life is going on and I've changed countries and that's always the question.
Yeah, good question, yeah. A Course in Miracles is called A Course in Miracles. That's because miracles is like our natural state. Miracles go on all the time. Miracles is an amazing state of mind. It's a state of mind where you have happy surprises supporting you all the time. Like lifting, you feel that's, and it's natural even. And that's what you're yearning for. Like you don't want to be flat. And you don't want to have occasional peaks. You want to be on the peak. You want to be happy all the time. And to do that, no, you don't really have to dig, but you can have that intention, that prayer. What am I avoiding? Am I avoiding something? Or am I, what are my habits even? What are my patterns? What is it I hold on to as safety? To be allowing to take a look at all of those, and that is going to bring you higher and make you stay on the peak, But digging, no, stuff does come up when you're ready for it to come up. And if you're already in touch with anger or jealousy, yeah, that's great. You need to allow it to come up and to keep working on that, to keep using the forgiveness process of the Course in Miracles or, whatever works, whatever really works. Often we want to avoid it. It's uncomfortable to be jealous. It's ugly to be jealous. It's very bad. It's like one of the worst things. In Swedish it's called black sickness. It's, or anger or rage, it's not allowed, but it is allowed. You need to allow it, and work through it. And the ways to work through it will come to you, and you can pray and ask. When I say pray, I don't mean go to church and pray. I mean, there is a prayer in your heart. There is a desire. Prayer is a desire, for healing. And I think you know the way. Yeah. Okay. I think we're gonna wrap up soon. But yeah, do we want to finish with a meditation? Mm-hmm. Is there any last question or thought before we have a meditation? We can have a short chat afterwards if anyone wants to stay around. Okay, let's meditate.
As you're settling in, let yourself rest gently on a bed of love. In this moment, nothing needs to change. You are not alone. Let yourself breathe with exactly what is here. Let yourself be exactly as you are. Feeling whatever you feel. Right here, right now. Let yourself sink even deeper. There is nothing to fear. this time together is a sacred gift. And in some way, we all will leave here today in a way different. With less fear in the mind, less tension. Less of what we are not. Knowing more fully what we really are, what we have always been. And for this we are grateful. For this we give thanks. For this, we say, Amen.
Yeah, I do want to emphasize, I hear the word holy, holy, holy. We can allow the word holy as we go home, wherever we find ourselves, just invite holy. That's the word I'm hearing. Thank you all for coming and being here together, and blessings on your next steps, wherever you go.